rule number 6 may seem a little bit counterintuitive, or may seem a little contradictory, or may seem that I'm out to not help myself. I don't know, but I'm here to make sure that we have a good product that's for the right people. And let's be very honest, open and blunt here. Tubeless is more complicated than tubes. Yeah. So if you cannot fix a tubed setup by yourself, going tubeless is probably a bad idea for you. Okay. If you cannot get your head around something that's simple, then doing something harder is not going to solve the problem. And yeah, this is not a criticism of anybody. We're all very different. Human beings are different. It's one of the greatest things there is about humanity. And the point is that if you've got a tube setup and you can't do it yourself, the chances of you finding somebody who can, or going to a place where somebody can, is much better than finding tubeless. Do not think that because somebody owns a bike store that they know how to do tubeless properly. The vast majority of them don't. It's like one bike. They don't know how to set it up properly. They are there to get out the traditional bikes with the traditional setups. Anything that's quirky, no idea. So if you don't know how to go tubeless, or you think that tubeless is complicated, don't do it. And on that note of is it right, it's not only is it right for you, is it right for your bike? So you'll have noticed that this fantastic TT bike has Tubeless signed on the side, etc. And this setup, I did set up tubeless on the Zip 808 Firecrests and the 404s. You can do it very well. However, when I was cycling a lot on this bike, I had it tubeless because I didn't want to puncture. But when I was only using it for races, I switched it back to these Conti tube tyres that you can see. Not all bikes are perfect for tubeless. The problem being is that bike tyres are light by nature, so they will lose air. They're not like a car tyre, which you'd have to leave for probably a year before it'll lose air. A bike tyre will lose air very, very quickly because they're very thin and they're very light. If you've got a tubeless setup, that means your tubeless sealant will dry up, and that is not good. So if you have a bike like this one, which I only use periodically, get a good setup and make sure that you set up those tyres well. Nice clean setup that you've done in your kitchen, not the side of the road, and that is probably a lot better for you. Same, for example, I've got a commuter bike over there, not tubeless. I've got a mountain bike which I don't use very often, but big tyres. The tubes were very, very heavy, so it is set up tubeless, but because it's low pressure, it virtually never loses enough air for it to come off of the rim. Very important.